Good afternoon, everyone. Today's May 4th, 2023. This is Conversations from Stritch. I'm David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined as always by our provost, Dr. Christopher Sent. It has been a busy few weeks. We have had so many recognition ceremonies, and I must say it's a really exciting time of year for all of us on campus. Chris and I go to a lot of these celebrations. And what we're celebrating this time of year is the accomplishments of our students in every area of the university, athletically, artistically, in terms of creating new scholarship, in terms of their accomplishments over the last 4 years, or potentially just this year. So it's a really exciting time of year. We did have our annual Board of Trustees meeting this past week, at which our working budget for the university was approved for next fiscal year. As well as finalizing our capital budget for the coming year. You will begin to see the dust fly across campus, dirt and dust, which is an exciting time of year this summer is. South Hall is being renovated this summer to improve spaces for the entire health sciences suite of programs, as well as to make room for our new doctorate in physical therapy. You will also see the track and turf being redone. And several areas around campus being dug up for the final aspect of the underground piping project. I know that's not as exciting to most people, but it's very exciting to me to finally complete that project. It's been a 3-year project, and we're very excited to have that done. Another 3-year project that has been underway, and many of our students are aware of, is that North Hall has been being renovated, and we will be doing phase 3 of North Hall, starting on that this summer. And that renovation, as soon as that third phase of the project is done, we will be completed with that. Also at the board meeting, we did have to say goodbye to 3 long-serving trustees that have made a really significant impact on our university. Dr. Mary Fox is leaving the board. Brother David Galinsky is also leaving the board, and Kathy Halloran is leaving the board. And Kathy was the board chair just a few years ago. So she was a great leader on campus and great partner for me in terms of being board chair. All 3 of these trustees will be missed, and we were really grateful for their service. In addition to all of that, and that's just a small segment, Chris has many more exciting pieces of news that he'd like to announce.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you, and I am also extremely excited about the dust flying on campus this summer, and looking forward to those projects and the completion of several of them by the end of summer. North Hall, the stadium, stadium new track and field are going to be incredible when we start up again in the fall, or start the new year in the fall. Yeah, we have not been together. We have not been on the show together for 3 weeks, I think. So yeah. There are a lot of things that have happened. It's an incredibly busy time of year. I also love going to these recognition ceremonies. But I'm going to share just a few things before moving on to some other events and introducing our guest. So we're really pleased to announce a new partnership with Spirit Airlines to launch the Spirit Wings Pilot Pathway. The program provides graduates of aviation flight with a direct path to rewarding career flying for Spirit. Lewis students will gain valuable experience and complete the steps needed to become a Spirit First officer while attending Lewis. And my understanding of that is that they will, in the summertime, be allowed to get training on larger jets. For example, that they would need to fly as a Spirit pilot, and that's a way of accelerating that training, so that as soon as they graduate from the Lewis flight program, they can immediately move into those positions. Very exciting. We're pleased to announce the Joliet Lewis Partnership for Student Mental Health program. That group was awarded a 5-year grant for $2 million by the Department of Education's Mental Health Service Professional Demonstration Grant Program. That partnership is really between Lewis and Joliet Township High School District 204, and the goal of the program is to increase the number and diversity of high-quality trained providers available to address the shortages of mental health services professionals in high needs high schools in that district. And that same grant is a national grant that's provided to across the country, and we're so pleased to be a part of it. We will partner with 3 high-need schools in Joliet to train 43 of our graduate students as school-based mental health professionals. Grad students enrolled in the Master of Arts in School Counseling or pursuing school social work licensure within the Master of Social Work program will be placed as school counseling or school social work interns in those high schools. So really exciting partnership with Joliet, as well as a tremendous opportunity for our graduate students in those 2 programs to gain really valuable experience and pathways to jobs and placements in really high-need schools in our area. On April 18th, a dozen senior undergraduate nursing students, accompanied by doctors Janine Haberman and Nancy Ryland, traveled to Springfield to participate in American Nurses Association Illinois Student Nurse Political Action Day. They learned from leaders in nursing professional organizations, and they toured the Capitol. The students also met with local state representation, Illinois State Representative Dagmara Avilar of the 85th District. And really cool opportunity for those nursing students to gain advocacy skills in their profession. Speaking of nursing, we actually attended the nursing recognition event last night. Really great event, and our graduate nursing program was recently ranked by U.S. News and World Report as 73rd in the country. That means it's 4th in Illinois. Incredibly high standing. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that incredible reputation and accomplishments of our MSN program, essentially, is what was being ranked nationally. And if you look at that ranking, we are next to some extraordinary universities in that group. So it's such a great honor to be a part of that company. Next week is National Nurses Week, so it's a good time to just take a moment to appreciate our nursing faculty and leadership for its academic excellence, its impact on the healthcare workforce in the Chicagoland area, and its commitment to service, especially over these past few years. I'm pleased to announce that Lewis recently joined the 7th cohort of Student Affairs Administration in Higher Education's Culture of Respect signature program. That's NASPA's signature program called The Collective. Jessica Henault, the Collective's program coordinator, was on campus last week, meeting with groups and kicking off our participation in the collaborative. NASPA is the leading association for advancement, health, and sustainability of student affairs profession, and the Culture of Respect Collective is a 2-year program that brings together higher education institutions devoted to ending campus sexual violence and guides them through a rigorous process of self-assessment and targeted organizational change. Each cohort of the collective relies on an expert developed public health framework, cross-campus collaboration, and peer-led learning to make meaningful programmatic and policy changes. So by joining the collective this year, Lewis shows its dedication to addressing sexual violence and the evolution of the Office of Violence Against Women campus grant. So this is connected to grant we talked about a few times here from the Office of Violence Against Women to develop prevention programs in connection to sexual violence, and that's now in its second year, completing its second year, and this is a direct outgrowth of all of the work that we've done in connection with that. And then finally, I just wanted to mention we're concluding a terrific year in athletics, so congratulations to all of our coaches and student athletes. A few sports are still in action, and I wanted to mention those. Men's lacrosse plays at Indianapolis tomorrow in the GLVC semifinals. Baseball is also in Indianapolis this weekend, concluding its regular season. They will most certainly be qualifying for the GLVC tournament. They're having a very strong season. Our softball team plays McKendree today in the GLVC quarterfinals, and the GLVC outdoor track championships in track and field are this weekend in Rollo, Missouri. So good luck to all of those extremely successful teams that are still competing, mostly because they're in the playoffs and will move on to the NCAA maybe in some cases.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff on the just on that athletic front, for those of you that are, interested in lacrosse, you might already know this, but we played UIndy, which is one of the top teams in the country, lost to them by 1 goal earlier in the season. So it should be a great rematch. They're one of the best teams, and so I wish our guys nothing but the best there. And of course, softball and baseball have had a great season, and then Dana and the whole team on track. Women won the indoor, men got second place, so I think outdoor we have a really good shot at having a really great finish to the season. I wanted to make some announcements about this coming 2 weeks. We have commencement this coming weekend. So 4 commencement ceremonies, 1 on Friday night. The Graduate Coast and College of Nursing and Health Sciences will be on Friday night, 7 p.m. in the field house. Then Saturday we have 3 commencements. We have 1 at 9, Graduate College of Business and College of Education and Social Sciences. 1 o'clock, undergraduate, COFACT, College of Business and Education and Social Sciences. And then at 5 p.m., our last ceremony of the weekend, College of Aviation Science and Technology and the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. We have 1,289 students that will be walking across the stage this weekend among those 4 ceremonies, so almost 1,300 students. We're so proud of all of them, and we look forward to celebrating with their families. May 9th through 11th is May Institute, so that following week we begin May Institute, an opportunity for our faculty, staff to collaborate on the future of pedagogy, the future of higher ed, some of the things that are really interesting. I've been looking at the schedule to see, a few sessions that I might be able to attend, and it's a really interesting program that we're looking at. We also have on May 9th the President's Faculty Recognition reception. That'll take place at 4:30. And then we have our end of the year celebration on May 12th. We've gotten a lot of RSVPs on this. I think we're 225 to 250 the last time I heard. Please send an RSVP. It helps us for food. Obviously, you're still welcome to come even if you don't RSVP, but it's just so much easier for Sodexo and everybody preparing for it. We will look forward to sharing and reviewing the entire year, as well as looking forward to some of the exciting things that are ahead of us next year. So that'll be a great event. Starts at 10 in the morning on Friday the 12th. And of course, Friday the 12th is also the first of half-day Fridays for the summer. So we'll have our celebration starting at 10. We'll conclude with a nice lunch reception. And then we'll be able to go and enjoy, I hope, what is a beautiful weather day on Friday the 12th. So, moving into summer mode, but still exciting. And then just a kind of teaser, and Chris is going to introduce our guest, but one of the things we'll talk about on the 12th is some really exciting news that we had this past week, and we're excited about the future in terms of one of our many issues that we'll be dealing with next year, but I'll let Chris introduce our guest.
One more, and maybe a couple pieces of business, the QR code for...
Yeah.
Oh, I can do it.
All right, go back to me. This is the one thing that they added and I didn't do. So this year we are also, just going back to commencement, we're offering all of our guests, both people that are watching in person, so you walk in, you'll be able to get it, or if you're online, you can scan this QR code that you see on your screen right now, and it'll allow you to see the entire commencement book. This book, as all of you have been to our commencement before or been to another commencement, it's pretty thick. It has everybody's name in it, all the speakers, and the program. So you can use this QR code to download the commencement booklet onto your iPad or your phone or your computer. So if you're watching at home or you're in the audience, you can have that there. So apologies. Thank you for reminding me.
No
and
problem.
Now we can announce our
and then while we're
guest.
doing business, just a reminder for everyone who's watching that you can use the Ask Us at lewisu.edu here on the screen to write in questions. We will try to work the questions into our conversation with our guest. And if we don't, we will definitely reply to all of the questions or refer them to the people who would best be suited to answer them. And also a reminder that if you're watching on the recorded version of this on YouTube, you can still email a question and we can respond to it or get a response out to you. So please do that. So as President Livingston alluded to, there was another piece of news announced that last week. The presidents of Lewis and St. Augustine announced plans to merge both institutions, with both boards of trustees unanimously approving the decision. The merger is subject to continued approvals by the Higher Learning Commission, the Illinois Board of Higher Education, the U.S. Department of Education. Both schools will continue operating as independent institutions with no disruptions to students until the merger process is complete. During this time, collaboration and planning for a unified future will begin, has begun after the signing of the agreement last week. So to talk about this more, I'm really pleased to welcome our guest, Dr. Reyes Gonzalez. Dr. Gonzalez is a native of Mexico and moved to the Chicago area as a young boy. He earned a BS in mechanical engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology and worked for 15 years as an engineer for the City Colleges of Chicago, where he eventually became the Associate Vice Chancellor for Administrative Services. He then moved on to Mount Mary University, one of Wisconsin's most diverse student bodies. During his 9-year tenure there, he served as Chief Financial Officer and Senior Vice President for Finance. Dr. Gonzalez also holds a Master of Science degree or degrees in accountancy and an MBA in change management from DePaul and a doctorate in higher education from the University of Pennsylvania. He focused his research in that doctorate on student learning, cognitive science, pedagogy, program and curriculum design, and review and assessment and culture factors necessary to achieve academic and institutional excellence. So Dr. Gonzalez, welcome to the show. Welcome to Lewis.
Thank you.
Today.
Thank you very much.
It's wonderful to be with you. So this is very exciting news about the merger. And I think for our Lewis audience who are maybe not so familiar with St. Augustine, it might be good just to start with asking you a little bit about St. Augustine. Tell us a little bit about St. Augustine, its mission, the students, what types of students you serve, and so on.
Sure. Well, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me. Lewis is an extraordinary university, and I'm really pleased to be here, and certainly always looking forward to our conversations. So thank you very much. You were asking about St. Augustine College. St. Augustine College is a very unique institution. I've been in higher education most of my career, about 30 years. And prior to my coming, I had not been familiar with such a type of institution. St. Augustine was founded about 43 years ago when our founder, Dr. Plazas, recognized the need to provide higher education training to Latinos that wanted entry into jobs that require higher education. Mm-hmm. And what he also recognized is the importance of providing that education in our own language, in our own culture. And I think that goes very much along with John the Baptist of De La Salle, that he also thought of the same way. Yeah. And our name, St. Augustine, certainly there was a religious influence, but also his way of thinking about teaching and learning. He also believed that we could best learn in our own language, in our own culture. And I often think, I thought a lot about that, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. I also often think is that let's imagine for a moment that the three of us were to move any country in the world, China or something. Chinese, I don't speak Chinese, so I don't know much about China. Mm-hmm. So if we were to move over there and enroll in a program, what are the chances that we will do as well as the Chinese students?
Zero. Yeah. For me, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
the same for me. And that was that was his way of thinking, and that's why he thought that he wanted to provide educational opportunities to Hispanics in our own language, in our culture. So he started San Agustin. And of course, a little bit about San Agustin. We're structure for the learning adult learner. And for the audience who may not be familiar with that, in higher education, we traditionally define the two groups of students into those that we call traditional, which are, for the most part, the students is just graduated from high school and they come directly to a university for their to continue their education, and those students that want to stay on campus and benefit from the campus life, and those students that we refer to as adult learners, those that for whatever reason are not able to continue their education, and they may be out for a number of years out of high school and return to college. In our case, our average age is 33, the age of 33. Most of our students have jobs, some of them multiple jobs. So we are an institution in the community, and we believe that it's necessary for us to be in the community, close to home where students reside, so that they can have opportunity to go back and so they don't spend an hour driving to campus whenever they need to take a class. So we're an institution that was designed for the needs of the Hispanic community, for the adult learner, and everything that all of our education, the way that we operate, is designed for that particular purpose.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about you mentioned that they're adult students. And that they use the campus. So the campus is on the north side of Chicago, uptown, just so people can visualize this. So are they typically living on the north side, or are they taking public transportation? And then maybe you could talk, I know it's evolving everywhere with COVID and everything, but Are they doing online learning as well as in person?
Yes. Prior to COVID, we had 5 facilities. Since then, we have limited our services to just 4. So as I mentioned, we are an institution in the community. So right now we have 4 facilities. Our main campus is on Argyle, and then we have 3 other facilities. One is on what used to be a heavily populated Hispanic area on Armitage Avenue. We have another one in Little Village, and then we have one in Aurora. But as we know, COVID has been detrimental to our families and our students. It has been very hard on all of us, but COVID also gave us an opportunity to rethink and learn about our students, ourselves, and how to better serve our students. And as a result, we learn a great deal. We learned that our students need flexibility in their learning. Where before even though we are in the community, our students, for the most part, would attending we call our satellite locations in their community. But that in itself may require them to be 15, 20 minutes or half an hour away from those facilities. So imagine the following. So now we have a mother. She works all day, and she gets home 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. She quickly fixes dinner for her children, and then she has to figure out a place to take her children for someone to take care of them while she attends school. Our classes are generally from 6 to 9:30. So she gets home 5 o'clock, gets them dinner, gets them to the neighbor or a daycare or somewhere to take care of the children. And then she gets herself to campus to take her courses. Now her class ends at 9:30. She has to rush to pick up her children, get them home, get them a glass of milk or something, prepare them for bed, get herself ready for work the next day, do her homework to prepare for the following day. So that is the type of life that our adult learners will have to go through. So what COVID taught us is that students could use more flexibility in their learning. And so we devised, we implemented a system that other colleges and universities are using that we call HighFlex. Under this model, students have the flexibility of coming to campus and meet with their faculty, staying home or at work, wherever they are, participate, or do a hybrid. One day come to campus, another one study from home. And students have told us time and time after that this works better for them. Because now, as I described the scenario of a mother coming home and have to get their children ready for, to take them someplace else so she can get herself to school. Now she come home, the same scenario, fix dinner for her children, and now they're set, and maybe get them started with their homework or what have you. Opens her computer, and she's in class. Yeah. Now there's a break in the class. She can put a load of clothes in the washer, or maybe attend to tell Johnny that to be quiet or what do whatever he needs to do. But she's at home. She don't have to pay for daycare. Yeah, right. She don't have to worry about whether the children are in good shape. Think about the winters that she has to transport those children. So those are things that are in our naive world. We didn't realize that those are needed students. So now our focus in providing the very best education that we can in this hybrid remote learning. And that's where our focus has been now, is being as good as we possibly can. I learned and I went to school when it was in face-to-face, and
take it or leave it.
I still believe that is the best way of learning. But on the other hand, there is this sector in our society that needs something other than just face-to-face because of life circumstances. And that's what we focus, that's what we serve. And we have been, our focus has been in providing the best quality education with the flexibility that they need so that they can obtain this degree.
As you know, one of our phrases in LaSallian higher education is meeting students where they are. It's you see it a lot in our conversations and in our the way we talk about our approach to learning, and that what you just talked about, describes that so eloquently. And that was one of the things I think we were attracted to St. Augustine about when we first started talking with you. I wonder if maybe I'm going to ask you each the same question. I'll start with you, Dr. Gonzalez. Tell me a little bit about what St. Augustine values in this merger, like how you see it as beneficial.
There's many, there are more reasons why it makes so many sense for us to be together than I can probably mention in this conversation. Well, not only I spoke a little bit about our mission and how our patrons, St. Augustine and St. John the Baptist de La Salle, how they were thinking about education and very the same way many years from each other. But also the other thing that is very attractive to me is your faith-based approach. The Latino community, the majority of our students, approximately in our surveys, almost 70% of them, they response as being Catholic. In the Hispanic community, we are very family-oriented. And even if we don't go to church every day, every weekend, even if we don't practice it, I see that it's important for us. It is important for the Hispanic community, the Christian values, the Catholic values that Lewis brings with it. And I think that not only the programmatic, which is a given that our students need more opportunities, more services, more support, but also the continued development of our families, our values and principles, which I think will help also the whole formation of our students and their families. And I think we all know that families is a nucleus of our society. Yeah. And if we have strong families, we will have strong societies. And so in short, it's our mission, your programs and services that will help the community that we have been serving for over 40 years, and certainly our Catholic and religious faith that Louis stands for. And,
Thank you.
And let me just add something that I work at Mount Mary for many years. I work with a remarkable congregation of nuns, the School Sisters of Notre Dame, and I feel coming home when I come to the with Lasallian brothers. I had an opportunity to meet a number of them, and it is just the whole community is so welcoming, and I'm really delighted that we are now becoming one family.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, and I would say, you know, second much of that, I think that the mission orientation, the focus on the student at the center, which you just got done going through, it really aligns really well. I think one of the things for Louis in terms of why this merger is so valuable is that, as you have mentioned, but we know demographically, the Spanish-speaking community, especially in the Chicago and I would say even Northwest Indiana, Southern Wisconsin area, is the fastest growing population in that whole area. I think and going back to the Doctors Plazas, the vision of saying, as you said about, you know, any of the three of us going to China, I think that notion that people learn better in their own language, they can learn English along the way, which they do, and we might want to talk more about how that works in your system. But this pedagogical insight, and really, you know, for Lasallian schools, the declaration itself calls us to go to the periphery and to, you know, offer opportunities of education for those that are underserved. You have done an amazing job, you and all the leaders before, Dr. Bondavali, Dr. Plazas, all the leaders have said, our focus is to allow more opportunity for students to be able to achieve their dreams educationally and be able to do the professions that they want to be able to do. But you've had this growth, and you've also only been able to do, you know, 20 some odd programs. We offer about 100 programs. The opportunities that can create for students, Spanish-speaking students, in the broader, you know, Chicagoland area, I think is really significant. And we see that as an opportunity to extend our mission. So you're talking about mission. The Louis mission is to offer students an opportunity to receive an excellent professional and liberal arts education, and we can do that for more students because of the access and the history that St. Augustine has with the Spanish-speaking community. And, you know, we were talking on the walk over, you know, some of this is about the trust. Like we have, 24% of our students are, you know, background Spanish-speaking, Latino, Latinas. But the trust that you have within the Spanish-speaking community is so significant because you've said, we're going to focus on you, we're going to give you these opportunities, we're going to meet you where you are, and part of that is linguistically, we're going to meet you where you are. And now we can expand what has always been a priority for Louis into this community by not in any way, taking anything away from what St. Augustine has done, but actually to let it be a part of Louis University and thrive because it has more opportunities in terms of educational programs, in terms of finances, the ability to invest in new programmatic offerings for students. I think all of that is just so exciting for Louis. It's exciting for me, and I've been so grateful to get to know you and to hear not only your vision, but the vision of the founders and where we can go with this. So anyway, very exciting.
If I could just zero in on one thing that you said, because it relates to a question that came through on Ask Us, which is that you mentioned that Louis's 24% Latinx or Hispanic in the official IPEDS category that we report. So that is significant. And could you maybe talk a little bit about the value that we see as an institution and the expertise at St. Augustine for serving that community? Because
Yeah, I mean, I can start and then I'll pass it off because really you know more about, but you know, we serve that community well here. And I do wonder sometimes about whether some of our current students could benefit from a class or two being taught in Spanish, even an intro to psych class. I mean, we will see, that's more of a longer term vision and as we learn about each other. But I think that cultural expertise, the pedagogical expertise, the focus on what are the needs because of being embedded in the community, in the Latino community in Chicago and broader in Aurora, in other places, and saying, what kind of programs do you want? What do you need? And when do you need your classes offered? And how do you need those offered? And how can we help you? I think that can enhance us as an institution which already serves a quarter of our students, again, our Latina students, Hispanic students. But now we're going to move to probably 33, 34%, and we're going to gain the expertise from both your faculty, but also all of your professional staff, all your leadership, who have this intense commitment to serving those students. So I ask you to add to that maybe, I mean, in terms of how you see this partnership benefiting the Hispanic serving community, the Hispanic community in broader Chicagoland, and then, maybe some of the sense of how, and we both know each other we've been working at this for about a year, but we're still learning to get to know each other. But maybe you could speak to some of that.
I see the endless number of opportunities for us on how we can be working with each other. But I think we have a very unique opportunity to create a one-of-a-kind university. And that is that I can envision, as we know, as Dave, you mentioned, the Latino community we continue to grow. We're the fastest growing ethnic group in the United States. Based on my estimates, I think that by, it was 2030, 2050, 1 of every 5 residents in the United States are going to be Hispanic, and that is huge. And I think if we go back to the mission of both the LaSallians and as well as St. Augustine, we'll see that part of their mission was to serve the underserved. And I think that we're going to be doing an enormous justice, making an enormous contribution, not only to our society, but the entire country, to help the students to get the quality education that they need. But as far as the immediate students are concerned, I can imagine, the students that perhaps might be in your psychology program, that they could potentially be taking courses in St. Augustine to get exposure to the language and to our culture. I think that most of us can agree how important culture is in dealing with mental illness or anything that has to do with our own personal care.
Yeah.
Whether it be psychology or any other area. Sure. And the other thing, even for any profession, just pick a profession. If 1 of every 5 of your customers or clients are Hispanic, think about the benefit that it would bring if you have some exposure to language or culture that we are able to provide. You spoke a little bit about our pedagogy. Our pedagogy is not just books. Our pedagogy also comes from who teaches those classes. In our classes, it is not uncommon for us de empezar a hablar en español and then we'll come back and speak to English if we don't understand. There's algunas cosas que podemos explicar mejor en español y ahora ya venimos y los explicamos en inglés. So it's not just the books that makes us a bilingual institution, but also who's teaching these classes, because there are some things that I think we all agree that we can better explain it in our own language because that's the way we brought up.
yes.
and there are other things technical in nature that we can explain it in our second language.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know we have other questions. I want to make sure we get to something. I know we're going to run out of time. We probably need to have a follow-up episode next fall. Yeah. But one of the unique things, because I didn't do this when you asked me what are we really excited about in terms of the merger. So you have the Institute for Workforce Education, and you do GED education. So I was wondering if you could talk about those. Those are both such crucial elements of what I would call a holistic approach to moving students from, where they find themselves at 25 or 27, and then where they aspire to be, that we don't do. So we don't do any GED, we don't do any workforce education. You do that. That's a real asset to Lewis University in the future.
Yeah, very good question. And let me try to explain it this way. There are some students in the United States that for whatever reason, life happens and they don't complete their high school. Yep. Sometimes, they lose their parents, they have to drop out of high school, they have to start working, and it's not until perhaps 10 years later that they find themselves in a position that says, I didn't complete my high school, I want to pursue a college education. And again, obviously they cannot go back and take those, now they might be 25, 30 years old, they cannot go back and start high school again.
Right.
So we are there to serve those students and get them through GED. By the way, GED is another way of, it's a program to to maybe you can explain it better, that is recognized to allow students to get
it's an equivalency,
equivalency,
basically to a high school
to
diploma.
a high school diploma.
So can just for our audience, size and scope of that. So what's the size of the GED? How many GED students would go through in a year?
We graduate approximately 600 students every year, and we have one of the highest graduation rate in the state.
Yeah, it's
Over
incredible.
90% of our students that enter complete their diploma, and what is most interesting is all online. And also keep in mind that although I would like it to be 100%, it is difficult to obtain 100% because just think about it. So you have a job, and you're taking your classes in GED. If your boss says, Reyes, I need you in the afternoon. Your job was in the morning. Right. Now I need you in the afternoon.
We have a shift for you.
So what do you think you're going to do? You're going to drop your GED class, and then you're going to.
Absolutely.
So that's what happens. And you spoke about ESL, English as a second language. There are many students also that come from other countries. They already finished, they already have a university degree, and they need to learn the language. So we provide them that opportunity. And that's also, just to say something else about St. Augustine, is that at St. Augustine, you only need to complete 25% of your classes in order to get your degree from St. Augustine. I don't know if you knew this. And the reason why that is structured that way is because, sometimes we have accountants, sometimes we have biologists, sometimes we have all type of professionals. They're already completed their university in their home country, whatever there is. And so an accountant, accounting is pretty much the same wherever you go. And if you have an accountant that came from Latin America, and all you need to learn is the new rules here in the United States, and so all we require is for them to take 25% of the classes. We'll give them their diploma. Now they're able to go out and get a job. So we give them some ESL classes, and 25% of the classes in a bilingual format, get the diploma, and they're on to be productive citizens.
That's
in the
awesome.
United States.
So talk about the workforce education.
Oh, sure. In the workforce education, once again, let me explain it in this way. Not every student that graduates from high school is ready to go into college. So that's one group of students that we serve. The other sector that we serve in our community are training for business. how to become more efficient and effective, time management, leadership skills. So we provide OSHA skills. So we provide training. We have a strong training for a pre-apprentice. So we provide the students that just came out of high school and they just don't think that college is just right for them at the moment. So we provide training to them to get them into the workforce. We also provide training, retraining, and for there's retraining and retooling for businesses, and so those are the main
And you
areas.
do that in more than just English and Spanish.
Oh yes, we in multiple languages. We also provide them in not Japanese, but Chinese, and also Korean. So you tell us in what language you want to learn, and we'll provide it to you. And we have hundreds of instructions from across the country that teach for us. And now with the new teaching modality, we can have someone that is in California teaching a program here in a completely different language. It could be Chinese. It could be any language that you can imagine. Because think about, I think this United States is probably the only country where we have residents from
Everywhere in the world.
everywhere in the world. So when we speak about a bilingual education, we just don't refer to as Spanish and English. English and any other language.
All right.
Whatever language you may think of it. And in San Agustin, we have 21 countries that are represented in San Agustin. So on Christmas, it is so rewarding for me to go around the room and for everyone to say Merry Christmas or a prayer in their own language.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is just,
It's wonderful.
It's just so rewarding.
Yeah.
That's what America is all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for this relationship, is that we bring in, multicultural, multi-language into an institution that is going to do some really wonderful things. And
Yeah, it's
I
great.
want to thank for your leadership,
Oh,
Dave, and
I'm
making this
thankful
happen.
for your
and-
leadership. It's just been exciting. It's been a great relationship to build
and
upon.
for Lewis Board that had the foresight and the trust in you, and certainly the Lasallian brothers. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
just
they are.
remarkable
They are.
group. So
Other,
Thank you.
So
Other-
I think we're about out of time. So
Yeah.
I will skip some other questions. And,
again,
so maybe
yeah.
we should just say what are the next steps, and
Oh yeah, sure.
and maybe I'll just say I was going to ask
yeah,
you to elaborate on it, but I'll just
Yeah.
say quickly that we've been working at this how long?
About a year.
About a year, 11 months, something like that. Very intensely, with many members of our community involved in different aspects, both communities. And so now we're at this stage of agreement to merge. I mentioned the process going forward over the next, 7 months or so, leading into the approvals that we need to go to the next stage. But I wonder if you maybe just really quickly talk about what we're immediately going to do in terms of bringing the two communities together and talking about integration in various ways.
Right. So, I mean, just some quick things on my end, and then Reyes can add to this. So, you're deeply involved in this. We have an application due on May 19th to the Higher Learning Commission. We won't have a problem with getting that submitted. Then we'll have a visit, and then we have their actual meeting on November 2nd. So that'll all play itself out. IBHE is significantly involved in that as well. So they have their role to play, which is the Illinois Board of Higher Education. I use all these acronyms: Higher Learning Commission, Illinois Board of Higher Education. But I will say on other fronts, members of Reyes' leadership team and our leadership team, we normally have a summer retreat. We're going to be together in a couple weeks to kind of begin to vision that out. I'm going to spend, hopefully 1 day a week. My plan is to spend 1 day a week on Argyle at St. Augustine's main campus. That is both to get to know the employees there, but also for Reyes and I to be able to speak to members of the community. So aldermen, business members within the Hispanic community in Chicago, to assure them very clearly that the mission of St. Augustine is going to be intact. We're not in any way, this is not about, in religion, this notion of syncretism where how do you make sure that things retain their own identity their own mission, and they also are a part of a larger whole. And I think that that's where we really want to make sure. And so there's a lot of small little steps that we'll take over the next 6 months. You know, the biggest steps are related to the Higher Learning Commission. And then we have all the legal and all that stuff. So in December, early December, first week of December, we expect to legally become one entity. But there's many cultural steps, socializing steps that we've started, and we need to continue.
Yeah, I'll just add one other thing to that, and that is that I'm really looking forward to looking at the programs at Lewis. You have such an incredible portfolio of programs. For us to start looking at those programs and see which ones we can start offering them also at St. Augustine in the format, in the bilingual format that we do, and also find ways for us to start again integrating some of those students at Lewis that might be interested in taking a class in Spanish or learning a little bit about us. So I see that also ahead of us that is going to be very interesting.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great talking with you. And
thank you, Reyes, for joining us.
It's always a pleasure. Thank
you. You know, wrapping things up this week, as Chris said, we've been gone for 3 weeks, and this is our last show of the year. So we will be back, and I don't really know exactly, but sometime in August, mid-August, we'll be back in the fall. Mid to late August, we'll have our first show somewhere in there, either right as the school year starts or within early September. We haven't finalized that schedule. I just wish, congratulate everyone who is graduating this weekend. Congratulate really everyone for completing the year. I know we're in the middle of finals week, but even if you're a first-year student, first-year graduate student, congratulations on getting through the semester and the year. It's been a great year. We wish you nothing but the best over the summer. I hope you can try to relax and rejuvenate, but I will make a little plug. Still have an opportunity to register for summer classes. So if you want to take one class this summer or there's something that you didn't get to, still can register for summer classes. Classes start on Monday for summer school, the first 8-week session. And then there's other opportunities throughout the summer. So many blessings to you and all those that you love. We hope you have a great summer. Thank you again for watching.